Dun, dun.
It's Matty Fresh on the track up at State, and I'm bringing to you live my boys Alec and Nate, Tequila Ty, Jay, Nelly, and Zillin in the building. So kick it back, pour the drink, we chillin' because I'm boozing and betting and ballin' like I'm 2-6 in the blue kicks. Watch me move quick, yeah, this the blueprint. So who's getting involved? Welcome into the show. This is Booze, Bets, and Ball, baby.
And welcome back in. So Penn State didn't win the Big Ten championship because he didn't hear from us, which we said would be the case. So we took the week off instead. But we got a playoff game to talk about on the bright side, as Penn State didn't really get punished for losing the Big Ten championship, which was nice. Come in at the 6th seed, which is the second highest of the teams that did not get the bye, I should say. So all in all, kind of worked out. There's a lot to get into.
Yeah.
Not about this game. So Drew Aller's coming back for 2025, and he Nicky said no to the West Virginia head coaching job, which is a little shocking, but yeah, he's coming back as another year for the OC. Bo Pribula, because Drew Aller is coming back, is not coming back, and Penn State's not going to have him for the playoff. Now, there's some things on there where I'm not entirely clear on. Some people said that Franklin has a rule. You go in the portal, you can't be on the team because the team that Penn State's playing, SMU, their backup quarterback is also in the portal, but he's going to be there on Saturday. So a little different, but at the same time, Pribula's taking a bunch of visits down south this week. So I don't even know if he would want to be there, necessarily anyway, if he's looking for a new home. So it is what it is. Nelly broke the news about Penn State getting a receiver transfer in Kyron Hudson from USC. We'll see if they add a few more. They've had a bunch of people visiting. What else happened? Penn State had signing day.
Yeah, that was basically the biggest. Getting a wide receiver. Biggest was wide receiver transfer, Drew staying, Bo
KJ Winston going pro.
Yeah, but
found out he tore his ACL. Finally figured that out.
Yeah, and then AK saying, those are huge things, not small things. So yeah, it was a pretty eventful 2 weeks so far for Penn State football, all in all. And then we get a home playoff game Saturday, which probably will have some type of snow on the ground, looking like it's gonna be freezing cold. So it's been a good past 2 weeks, even though we lost the Big Ten championship. With the way the playoff is formatted, it ended up working out for us. Because if we won, probably would have been the 1 seed and would have had to play Ohio State probably again, and then either probably Texas, which would have been 2 juggernaut games. And we already know how it usually goes versus Ohio State, so didn't want that again. And somehow ended up with the 2, not easiest, because of course, it is the easiest path for any team, but it's still not going to be easy. I'm not going to say these teams don't deserve to be in. So, it's not just going to be a walk through the park. So, we still have to come out and play because any week, if you don't play your best game, they could, and we could just lose easily. So, still, if we win this week, we still have to go against who I think should have won Heisman over Travis Hunter. So, that won't be a walk in the park. And then we still, whoever, Notre Dame, Georgia. So, either way, we got a lot to go through. But, like you said, Kyron Hudson, next year's looking a lot better than we were expecting already. So, we'll see. The Big Ten championship, that was a great game, even though we did lose. Offense showed something we're not usually used to seeing.
Yeah.
And against this whole Oregon defense is great, and our O-line just pummeled them the whole game, which was great to see. Wide receivers, Harrison Wallace finally came back and stepped up for us when we needed a few huge plays on the second to last drive to cut it to a touchdown. Drew played great, had 2. The last interception was I get the play, but it was a great play by the corner too. The 1 interception for a pick six was almost basically a pick six, was absolutely terrible. But it's gonna happen. So we will see, but I think that's the key highlights for the past 2 weeks. Basically, I mean, but like you said, we have so many. We've had Bear Alexander on campus. We had that dude from Louisiana Tech, who's a great defensive tackle on campus. That dude from UVA just entered the portal, even though, like you said, that Notre Dame, it looks like he's taking the lead, but still have a chance. You never know if we can get him for a visit, change his mind. And then the Ball State wide receiver we've had on, Eric Rivers, apparently at FIU, we lead for.
That would be a nice one, I think.
And then my thing is, from all of this, I saw Singleton say it was phenomenal for Drew to stay. He didn't give anything on what he's doing, and he kind of made it seem like not like he's leaning towards the draft, but it was kind of a weird answer because I feel like nothing towards Singleton, but he's been hurt for most of the year, not 100%, and he hasn't played great until really last game. He kind of showed him last 2 games of the season, kind of showed himself again. So I guess it really ends up being if this playoff run makes it to 3-4 games and he shines, his stock could go a lot further up, and you never know what could happen. So that could be why. But yeah, I think those are really the highlights. You touched most of it.
Yeah, the thing with Singleton is this running back draft didn't really turn out to be as deep as it looked on paper. Like Henderson and Judkins were good this year. Neither of them were as dynamic as I think people thought they would be. Yeah. Donovan Edwards was
terrible,
more or less bad. Yeah, bad at Michigan.
Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, Ollie Gordon kind of got into some trouble or whatever. Kind of fell off the face of the earth. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Genty is going to go high. But after that, who is RB2 is definitely up for discussion. So
the USC running back was really good this year, I think.
Woody Marks.
I don't know if he's draft eligible, though. I don't know much about him. Sure. He played us. He was electric. I've seen him all season. He's been electric. So he could definitely be up there. But other than that, there hasn't been standout guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, running backs are just kind of like that. But if he thinks he could be RB2 in the draft this year, that might be enough for him to go. So yeah, I think what happens in the playoff will maybe decide that. And they have a pretty good test this week actually, because SMU is top 5 in every run defensive category.
Yeah.
Now part of that, I don't know who the best running back they faced is. Penn State played pretty good running backs. West Virginia has 2 good backs. Ohio State has 2 good backs. Oregon has good backs. USC has good backs. Penn State's played a lot of really good running backs this season. I don't know in the ACC on an ACC schedule who SMU really played at the running back position. The ACC was not eye-popping from a running back position this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to go through and look.
I'm looking at their schedule. I'm going to look at it. Because even Clemson, they don't have
right. A great and the teams that they played that were ranked were kind of pass first teams. They played Pitt when Pitt was undefeated. They killed Pitt, but Pitt was throwing the ball the majority, not really running that much.
Yeah.
Clemson's a pass first team. Same with Cal. So
Boston College, I feel like they were more. I mean, I don't even know. I was just talking this with my friends, and I was like, they're they have a top 4 because I'm it's gonna be freezing. It's gonna be a run first game probably for us, especially if we played I think we're so confident in our line after the last few games where it's we're gonna run the ball first. We're gonna try that for as long as we can. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But how they showed versus Oregon and just really the whole season, not even just Oregon, the whole season, our offensive line is so underrated. I think on a national stage where they haven't been really talked about, and we've had people go down, and the number 2s are coming in and they're still lighting it up. There's no step back really. So I mean, I trust them a lot, and I Singleton healthy another week and whatever off, almost 2 weeks. Give him that time. Don't he's got more time to get healthy again. Allen last game lit it up too. I've never that's the fastest I've seen him run in a while too.
Yeah.
And he was creating massive plays for us that we're not used to seeing, at least for him, 40-yard, 50 runs. So I mean, if we can do that, I do think we dominate this game. Nothing on SMU. It's just they haven't seen a team like us, I think, on their schedule. They played Clemson and they did lose. And Clemson's not a Clemson team that we're used to seeing. Like, they're such an average Clemson team. Their pass game's okay, defense is decent, but they still let SMU come back when they were down by like 28. So, like, I mean, I don't know if that says more about Clemson or SMU, but either way, if our own line plays against how they did at Oregon, I don't see them really having a chance here because, I mean, it's got, like they said, they're not used to playing this weather. They're not. It's just a fact. Even their coach has said it. Like, we never, like, they haven't played this in this environment. I saw, like, what he said, like, you can't prepare for what this crowd's going to be like, even though we talked about, like, it's probably not going to be sold out, unfortunately. But whoever is going to be there, it's going to be up on their feet and screaming their ass off. It's a playoff game. So it's still going to be loud. It's just going to look a little bit worse on TV, probably. But what are you going to do? And then, like, it's going to be run first. If Singleton isn't going, one of them is going to get going. So that's all I care about. One of them is going to have a good game. And then you just do the little – they're just like, we can't stop. Their coach, first off, I saw a quote. He's like, we won't stop Tyler Warren. He's like, we just have to slow him down. And, like, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, the only team that did was Ohio State, who has the best safety in the country.
Yeah.
So
I get that, but it's also like, I don't know. I don't know if I would say that because I'd be like, you want to have a little bit of confidence. Like, I get Tyler Warren's really good. But, like, I don't know if I say it on a national stage. But if we do what we did last game, I mean, I just don't know, dude. Like, we looked our best game other defensively, but nobody is doing what Oregon did on us on defense. So, like, we played Ohio State. They didn't do that. They were just we weren't ready for the no huddle. Like, they just kept going and going and going, and Tez Johnson was just too fast for anybody on our defense to keep up. And I think SMU's most explosive player is their quarterback. And if need be, their own line doesn't look that great from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And Carter's going to get to him. If Carter gets to him, they got double Carter, I promise you, we will bring the house on him, and he will not know what to do. We love the blitz with Reed. Reed's fast. Tracy's been getting in there recently. He's been playing great. Kobe's been playing great too. He's also a big decision we need to have back. We need him back personally. Like, pay him. He deserves to be paid. But.
Yeah, and really quick on that, Josiah Trotter went in the portal and went straight to Missouri. So if I think Penn State liked him.
Yeah.
Coming out in his initial recruitment. So if they didn't even bother, I think maybe they already have a decision from Kobe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think he said he didn't want to announce. I think he said he didn't want to announce because I saw something on like Twitter, like Zane didn't say what he was going to do.
Right.
And then Kobe and Singleton, which are probably like the three biggest decisions we have left on our team. So, I think most of them stay, but we'll see. Of course, like we said, the playoff run means everything for everybody. Like, even Drew, even though he says he's at 10 to stay, but we've seen, like, he lights it up, somehow wins a natty. His draft pick goes up to, like, top 10 or top 5. Like, how do you say no?
Well, do you remember, like, when Cardell Jones won the championship for Ohio State? He only played in 3 games.
Yeah.
And there was like a month-long conversation about if he should enter the draft after it, like just because of how crazy those 3 games were.
Yeah.
And I don't think he did. I think he came back to Ohio State, and that's when, they had going through like 3 different guys playing quarterback, and Braxton Miller moved to receiver or whatever happened there. But yeah, you said a lot. I'm trying to catch up. So
no, you're good. Sorry, I just got
SMU actually is a pretty high tempo team. They're over 100th in time of possession. They do not possess the ball long, and their defense is on the field a lot the way it is. So if Penn State wants to run the ball and they can assert themselves, it's gonna be a long day for a defense that's already on the field a lot. And you mentioned the SMU offensive line. I know Landon Tingwell put out a pretty good video on their offensive line. Apparently some of the guys have tells on pass plays, which if Abdul Carter already knows you're going to pass, it's going to be a problem for you. Yeah. So, Penn State's defensive line is playing pretty well. I mean, you mentioned what kind of happened with those Oregon receivers. Something was off there. I don't know what it was. It wasn't pretty. The middle of the field got attacked pretty bad.
Yeah, really.
The first time really that not having KJ Winston hurt all season. I think they did a pretty good job of masking it up until that point. And like Oregon has really good receivers. I think it's fair to say Ohio State's are probably better, but Oregon has a better quarterback, so it kind of evened out there, and it turned into more of a mess with Oregon. But once again, I mean, Penn State kind of did the thing where the first half defense was really bad and the second half was okay. They only gave up, I say only, but considering they gave up, 31 in the first half, they only gave up 14 in the second half. So it did get a lot better. Obviously, I think if you give up, you don't want to give up 45 again this week. I'd prefer that doesn't happen. And I think that, I don't see this game getting super high scoring because I don't think Penn State wants to play that way. And I don't think Penn State will let SMU put up those kind of points. Their quarterback's interesting because their offense as a whole plays pretty loose. They're going to make some crazy plays. Like, their offensive line is bad, and I don't think it actually grades out that bad just because he escapes a lot of sacks, and their running back kind of does the same with negative yards, kind of at least gets back to the line of scrimmage where it's not a negative play. They're both pretty shifty players. So I think it kind of masks how bad that offensive line might actually be. But they do play pretty loose, so they will turn the ball over. Landon was showing some of the turnovers that guy has. Like, you don't know. He kind of reminds me of Will Levis, just kind of tossing the ball for the sake of tossing the ball away, not really caring where it's going. Sacks are in some cases a lot better than interceptions, but I don't know. It's like SMU, they got some dudes, but them coming up here, I can't see it. It's so funny because I don't think people have felt so good about Penn State after a loss than they did after the Big Ten championship. I was not happy with what I saw from the secondary. I think part of it is defensive play calling. Like you said, I think there's way too much zone involved, but if they can fix that, and they had 2 weeks to think about it. Maybe it's good they got exposed right before the playoff because they really didn't get exposed in the regular season that much. USC did at times, but it wasn't a full-on throttle like that was. So maybe that's a good thing that it happened when it did. But I have a tough time seeing SMU putting up the type of points that they might need to. Even though they are an offensive first team, I just think this is kind of a new look for them that they haven't seen this year.
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, us losing that game helped us so much because I think our defense is everybody is saying our defense sucks now because I guess no one really tuned into our games unless it mattered.
True.
Like, that game was 8:00. Really, it was us and then SMU versus Clemson. Obviously, our game was bigger and better. 1 versus 4. That game turned out like a crazy game.
Mm-hmm.
But 1 versus 4, you're expecting us to have a better game. And we really just, first half, it was they were going down 6 plays, touchdown. Just chunk play after chunk play. Tez Johnson just down the middle and then making 2 guys miss and then going out of bounds just because he felt like getting out of bounds just because he was tired. Because he knows that we're going to score anyway. Which it was just insane. Which we made the adjustments at least a little bit in the second half, but they still were kind of getting whatever they wanted. When they needed to, they got it. So it was it looked better, but overall, I think they have something to prove on a national stage now because it's playoffs. You just saw what they did to you. This is so-called more explosive offense. This quarterback can make great plays. Like you said, he can make terrible plays. And we gotta hope he makes more terrible plays than great plays. And we're gonna probably cause the most pressure and chaos in the backfield they've ever seen. Whether it's on the edges or whether it's in the middle of Zane Durant and whoever else is getting in there and just making plays. So, I mean, it's going to come down to containing that quarterback because I think our corners are great. A.J. Harris, Kimber have been great all season. Even against Oregon, I mean, it was really just one wide receiver. I don't know what we were doing, but A.J. Harris still played a great game when he was covering players, and Kimber still played great too. It was more really just Tez Johnson or just a broken coverage where a guy was wide open down the side of the field.
Yeah, I know they said Evan Stewart was maybe sick, but he didn't do a thing,
Yeah. And then even not that game, Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith, you didn't hear usually when we have a Marvin Harrison or you got Olave Wilson, they still showed up against our secondaries. Even when we had Joey Porter and Kalen King, they still had their games. We were just trying to contain them. Jeremiah Smith and their other players, Carnell Tate, they didn't do much. They really didn't. And our defense did great. Offense didn't perform well. But after what I saw last game, I've never been in a game I'm like, all right, they want a shootout, we'll give them a shootout. I've never felt that way against our offense. And that game showed us. I was like, all right, if we need a shootout to win a game, we can compete. We just need our defense to at least stop them. 31 points is crazy. We missed a field goal, and then we had a few mistakes, interceptions. If you score 37, you should win a game. It's just what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think SMU. I think we're gonna come out something to prove. People still think, Penn State's overrated. This crap. There's so much bulletin material to be shown about us being overrated and still not deserving of being in here, because we lost to the number 1 seed by a touchdown, and then Ohio State, they lost to Michigan, but it's a rivalry game. Let's not act like Ohio State can't go out and make it to the championship with their team. They have one of the best rosters easily. So people just want to think what they want to think about us because we lost our 2 big games and they didn't watch any other games. They're like, oh, USC was close. USC played their best game they played all year against us, and we still found a way to win. When other teams, they've lost those games where you need to come out the last drive and make that drive like Drew did and win a game. So I think we're just getting way too much national hate. I don't know if it's just because for Penn State, no one wants to see us be good anymore. So, I mean, I just think this path, what we have, we should, no matter what, be in the semis. No hate on the first 2 teams. They're great teams. We just have the better roster. It doesn't even come down to coaching.
Yeah.
I don't love Franklin. He's not the best coach. He definitely makes questionable play calls. But, we just have a better roster, and that's what it comes down to this game. We're better on the trenches. We're better in the secondary. They might have better wide receivers, but I feel like everybody honestly does that we play, for being real. So, it's just going to come down to us containing him, and we've seen Carter drop back and just cover the quarterback, and he'll outrun you. It doesn't matter who you are. He's just another Micah back there, and he'll catch you easily. So, I mean, I think we do win this game kind of handily. I hope that we just go out there, we get defense on the field first drive and just set the tone right then and there. That's not going to be a good game for you guys. So, I mean, we'll see, but I do think we do win handily this weekend, and I really hope we do. But also, SMU, I mean, you never know. We still got to come out and play. So, home. All I'm saying is if we lose this game, I don't know what to think about Franklin anymore. It's a home game against SMU, the easiest possible opponent you could have had in the first round. By far.
This would be a bad loss. There's no doubt in that. I think, Boise on a neutral field probably has the best player in the country. Yeah. I think it's a game you should still win, but I think you can at least accept a loss because of what I mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't see how you accept a loss here. I know I put out on Twitter when the bracket came out, does Penn State have to win 2 games in the playoff for you to deem it a success? And I got over 250 responses, I'd say. And I would say 80% said yes, 15% said at least 1, and 5% people that clearly just, I don't know what their expectations are. There was a very small percentage that said no.
Yeah.
So 95% of your fan base is expecting you to win this game and needs you to win this game.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing there. It's something that they do have to deal with, but it's something they should be able to do. They wanted. I know everyone wants to win the Big Ten, but to be able to host a playoff game is a huge deal. Now, Notre Dame will get the distinction of being the first team to hold a playoff game, but Penn State will be second. So that's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Notre Dame does get the nod, though. So there's a lot going on here, but I think you've had enough positive momentum the last couple weeks to get this over the finish line. And I just think there's enough going right for you to win this game. You have to bring a team from the South up here. A lot of travel for them. I know they're in the ACC, and the ACC is pretty much as bad as the Big Ten now when it comes to travel because Cal and Miami are in the same conference. So but they're in the middle. So, they go kind of halfway, I'd say.
Yeah.
They're halfway to, I know not exactly, but like halfway to California, halfway to Florida. So they're kind of in the middle, but they have to come all the way up here, which is not an easy trip. It's going to be very cold. It's not an environment. The ACC does not have good environments. Florida State's probably the best, and Florida State's I don't even know if they played at Florida State. Did they? I don't know.
It's only good when they're good. That's the thing. They ain't going to show up if they're not good.
And their stadium was under construction this year, so the capacity was already down. I don't even know if they played there. I'm just saying that, and kind of Clemson are the only places that have good environments in the ACC, really. So they haven't expected anything. Even if Penn State only has 85,000 people there, it's still probably almost close to double than what the biggest game they've played in this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, we better have 100. Like, I think we will. Like, from what like people were sending us, like there are like a few sections where like it's bad, but like overall, it's not terrible. And I think it won't look that bad. But like we still have so many days where people might literally just wait till Thursday and just be like, I'm making a day trip. Like, it's in the morning. You can go right back home.
Yeah.
There's so many things that could we still could get like so many thousand people that are just waiting for it to go
I think there's a lot of people that would prefer to sell the ticket, but if they can't, they're going to go.
Yeah, so exactly.
I think there's a lot more available than, showing available in like Ticketmaster than is actually available.
Yeah. Like one of our great family friends here that have season tickets, like he's like, I tried to sell them, but they're not. So I'm making the trip now.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's actually going to be as bad as it is. Like, I feel like people are like, we requested because we thought we were going to get an insane home game against Bama or it could have been Bama, but it could have been anybody else. Like, it could have been Bama, we were the 8th seed and we got Tennessee. Like, it could have been anything like that. That's a totally different game. Like, it's not at 12, it's at 8. Like, that's a full-on whiteout, like, first playoff game. Like, you're hyped for that. Mm-hmm. And it is something at SMU because it does kind of suck. Like, they're 9-3, but like, they can still go out and win. But like, there's so many. It's 12 teams.
SMU is 11-2, just so you know.
Oh, I'm at Clemson. I was thinking about Clemson. That's okay. But I'm just saying, like, overall, like, there's better teams we could have gotten. So it just like people were just like, do I really want to spend another $1,000 on hotels and stuff and figuring out how I'm getting back and then like parking and then going out later? Like, there's so much more money into it than just the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's going to be a great environment either way. Like, whoever's there, it's going to be loud. It doesn't really matter. Students will be there. I think the students will show up because like it is our first home playoff game and finals is this week. So like, why not stay another day? Christmas isn't coming any sooner.
It's only a day. I don't understand the rush to get out. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a home playoff game. You can go home Sunday. Christmas isn't gonna happen the day like 4 days before. So like, as long as, but like, of course, like people like live in different states across like this fucking country.
Right, the people that have like travel plans.
Yeah, that's different. But like, we still have people where it's like just PA in general, where we have 20,000 kids that are probably from PA and East Coast easily. So
I don't know. I guess were branch campus kids included in the ticket sale? I don't know.
Well, that's also, I mean,
like a lot of those branch campus kids are local kids, so they all live in PA.
Yeah. So who knows? But I mean, either way, it's gonna be a great atmosphere. But yeah, I mean, I don't see too many SMU. Like, I don't know how big SMU is. Like, I don't think it's that big of a school.
It's a very small school, actually.
Yeah. So like, they're not gonna be bringing many fans. Like, I don't know what to expect. I think it's gonna be a great game. I mean, we should go out there and dominate. And like we were talking about with Franklin, like I personally, from like just like a fan and like a perspective, like how you're talking about your tweet, I expect no less than 2 wins with this. Like, yeah, it's Genty, but okay, like, yeah, sure, you could say Boise took Oregon to the last quarter like we did, but Oregon's a totally different team than they were the third week. The first 3 games they were, Idaho took them to the fourth quarter. Like,
yeah,
Idaho actually turned out to be pretty good this year, and they're
we could use that receiver they got.
Yeah, like Idaho actually turned out to be decent. I was watching like in the quarterfinal, and they made it to the playoffs for their schedule or whatever, their league. So it's not that bad, but it's still Idaho compared to Oregon. And I can promise you right now, if Oregon played them next week, it would be 56-14. Like, they're a totally different team. So, and also Genty, great player, but we're loading the box. Like, you're putting everybody there, and you're making their wide receivers beat our corners. And if he beats us, he beats us. But it's 2 wins no matter what for me. And you make it to that third game, you have momentum. If you're balling out, everybody's balling out. Notre Dame and Georgia are both beatable. Those are pretty good matchups for us. Georgia is without their starting quarterback, but honestly, like, their backup's probably better. So, like, I don't even know.
We'll see.
But those games will start to come down to coaching. So that's where I get a little shaky. It's like, will we be –
yeah,
I don't know. But those are later things.
We'll worry about that when it
comes. But this week, there's no, like, excuse to lose unless, God forbid, please do not happen, Drew goes down. Because, dude, now that Bo can't play, we are screwed.
Let's talk about that, actually, that you brought that up, because I was kind of going to talk about that anyway. But so Ethan Grunkmeyer was a top 200 recruit, highly regarded from Ohio, like Drew Aller. They used the same quarterback coach. He didn't get a snap this year, and I thought there were some games where he could have. I thought the Kent State game he could have got in. I thought the Purdue game he could have got in. I thought the Maryland game maybe could have got in. Now, I know what he's going to do in those situations is not going to prepare him for if he's coming to the middle of a playoff game. I understand that. Yeah. But we've played the third string before in games. I don't know why this year was different. And if part of it was to keep Beulah happy, I just don't know what the thought process is there. Because if Drew leaves, Bo's staying. And if Drew's staying, why do you care if Bo leaves?
Yeah.
So I don't understand that. I thought Bo played probably, I don't know this for sure, but I'm going to say it. Bo probably played the most out of any backup quarterback in college this season that didn't have to play because of injury. Like that didn't start. Like, he had his own package. He played a ton of second halves.
Yeah. That's probably right though.
Yeah, like I don't know. Weird.
I mean, like, they don't know the actual stat, but he played at least probably in the most for like games we were close, probably still like 10 snaps, if not more. And then like the least probably like Oregon, where it was like 3 to 4. I don't think he played that much.
Well, Oregon had that touchdown run, and I was going to bring that up because you did see the Bo package in the Oregon game. And I know we sat here and we're like, screw it, use every trick play in the book. Worst case scenario, you're hosting a playoff game. Best case scenario, you win the Big Ten, you have a bye.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of the Bo package you would see in this playoff game because there's a lot more to lose, obviously. You could play a lot more loose in that Big Ten championship game because the win would have been nice, obviously, but the loss wasn't devastating. No. So you did more. I don't know if they would have done more of it this week. I do know that SMU all of a sudden didn't have to prepare for it all week, which is a little unfortunate. I don't know how much time they actually put into that, but making them have to think about it, spend time on it helps. Every little thing helps. So now all of a sudden that got erased. So that matters. So I'm interested to see. Right. I'm interested to see what they do. I don't think Grunkmeyer is going to come in the Bo package, but I'm interested to see what they do with maybe Singleton playing quarterback, some other trickery, what they might do. Yeah. Obviously, Warren plays quarterback every once in a while.
Amari, I was thinking about this. He's just so fast. I don't know if you've ever tried it, and it might be risky because it is going to be freezing. He's never really played back there. You never know. That ball comes fast. He just drops it, and then it's a turnover, and then you're like, what the hell did we just do?
Right.
So, but like I've seen Allen at quarterback. We've seen Singleton at quarterback. We've seen Warren. So there's so many still packages they still have to a little bit, but it's not the same because they don't have the throwing factor. Where it's like it doesn't work, you could still make a play with the arm. So that is a little bit different. But I mean, we have Warren who was a quarterback. So there's still that. But yeah, I mean, it takes a lot. But like you said, I mean, I personally didn't like the Bo package. Like he did make, look, he won us the Wisconsin game.
Yeah,
he came.
That wasn't even the package. That was just him.
It was him as a quarterback. I'm just saying, like, no one in Penn State dislikes Bo and understands what he has to do. It closes December 28th. He has no choice but to go in, and he only did it because he knew Drew's coming back. He wanted to stay, but you can't be going to what, junior, senior, I forget which one, and you're still a backup. Like you'll have 1 year to make the most out of it, and if it doesn't go well, you're done basically for football. Which you're asking a kid to not go for his own future, but the team. Franklin will never do that. No one will ever do that. It's just you understand why he did it. It just sucks at the time and the timing and everything because it does take away stuff like that. The Bo package, like that, now they don't have to prepare for it. That's one extra thing they had to that could take away from other stuff that we had maybe planned. Who even knows? But it does suck. And like Ethan hasn't done anything yet. Like he hasn't played, which sucks also. But we've seen his arm in videos. He's got a cannon. I feel like he can make plays. If I don't know how this happens, but say we're up 35 against SMU and we're in the fourth quarter, throw him in there, get snaps in that game. Like, yeah, if we're up and they have no chance to come back, like you know that for a fact, throw him in there, get him some reps. But like
he has to. Yeah,
you really just hike the ball. You're handing it off. We're not going to just try to throw it and give him maybe a crazy interception, pick six, give him life. So it's like, I don't know. It sucks in the portal. Like people talking about it. Like I've seen everything on ESPN about Bo leaving, but not because of him leaving, because he was like an insane quarterback, but because of why he had to. And it just ends up sucking. And all of us, you saw like the love from everybody on our team. Like everybody loves Bo. He's a great teammate, great person. Like he did everything we asked him to do for Penn State. So it just sucks to see him go because, like no one wants to see that, but you get it overall. So Drew's coming back. I mean,
yeah. And the fact it's like it's nothing new.
Yeah.
We went through this with Tommy Stevens. We went through with Will Levis.
Yeah.
Guys that were fun pieces to have as your backup, but for their own sake, were just too good to be backups. Say what you want about Will Levis. I think he was a fine college starter, but I think that Drew making his decision now actually shows how much he respects Bo. Yeah. Because I think he could have waited to see how his playoff performances went. And, if he had a couple bad games and, say they lose to Boise State and the portal's closed and Drew's stock isn't that good and he has to come back, well, then Bo's screwed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the other teams will find quarterbacks before he gets even in the portal and you're done. Now you're stuck here for another year and you're basically calling it maybe a career. So
so I think that says a lot that Drew put, I don't want to say rushed, but move forward his NFL decision for, I would say, the sake of Bo to an extent. Like I definitely think that, he kind of threw him a bone there. So I think that says a lot about Bo too, that Drew would do that. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, should be fun. I'm excited to be out there. It's been a while. So the coldest game I was ever at was the Wisconsin game in 2018.
Yep.
Where like all the lots were closed because it like sleeted and stuff, and people were parking at the Nittany Mall and walking from the Nittany Mall to the stadium.
It was so bad. I remember that. It was so windy. It was so
windy.
freezing.
There was maybe like 60,000 people there. It was miserable. Penn State won because they got like a goal line interception. Jonathan Taylor had like a crazy run in that game. I remember.
Yeah, it was like 9. It was so far. I'm like, dude,
that was such a weird season because Penn State was 9-3, but they also won like 4 games by 1 possession. Like they screwed around so much that year. Yeah, so that is the coldest game I remember going to.
Yeah, I left that
I'll let you know how I feel on Saturday, but there's a chance this passes this because the high is 23. And I don't know if the wind chill is going to be as bad as that game because the wind chill was horrible, but
Yeah, I was looking at this. It says the wind gust could be up to 20, dude, which if that's the case, it's going to suck again. And I left at the end of the first quarter versus Wisconsin just because the game was so boring. Like, it was just running, and I literally couldn't watch it anymore. I'm like, first off, we already had, like, a loss or two. And I'm like, all right, we have nothing,
they
like
had 3 at that point, I think.
Yeah. So, like, I was like, there's nothing even – I don't remember, like, exactly. But, like, I remember we parked – they used to have that restaurant all the way down the hill to, like, the left with the hotel back there. It's like a little
Damon's.
bar. What?
Was it where the Damons is that Tyler always talks about?
It's closed. Like, they closed
across from the car dealership?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and my best friend from school, we walked. My dad's like, I'm not going up there. I don't give a shit. I'm watching right here at this bar. He's like, I'm good here. So we walked up, and dude, it was the coldest game I've ever been to. And like, I think it was in the negatives, like with the wind. So like, I really hope it's not like that because it's gonna be cold. Like, I know it's gonna be cold, but dude, I just hope the wind just like somehow it's just the valley, dude. It's just always so windy.
Yeah,
like going to class, like there's some days I'm like, I'm going.
I know.
Home. I'm good. Like I'm not walking in that. So I mean, yeah, it should be fun. Gonna have a good time no matter what. Just bundle up. I mean, we know it's gonna be cold, so there's no really excuse. Just put a hat, gloves, sweatshirt, jersey, whatever you gotta put on. Put on long. Like I'm wearing long johns under my jeans, like thermal. Like I'll be all good for the game. Should be a good game. I expect us to win. I personally predict us to win like 21 to I don't even know what, maybe 10, maybe. I just don't see him putting much.
I mean, I was gonna say like 27-17. So
yeah, I just don't know what to expect of the offenses yet, just because of the weather.
Yeah,
like I don't know what's gonna happen. Like if it's just strictly running, then I just don't think there's gonna be many points scored. Mm-hmm. But like we do have Singleton where he could break away for a few runs. You never know. So like it could get up there, but if it goes down to just running, it's gonna be a very low scoring game. And that's where we could easily win this game. But we'll see. Well, I mean, it's going to be a good game. Excited to have a playoff game home. Excited to be in the playoffs for once.
Yeah.
And screwed over before in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens week by week. Not get too ahead of ourselves. If we win, we play Boise. We know that for sure no matter what. So just win this game. Then we got a week and a half on us to Boise State to figure out how to stop that running back. I don't know how it's going to happen or contain him. He's like a Warren. Like, you just hope to slow him down, get off the field a few times, and just take the lead. But no matter what, this game will be fun. Hopefully, better turnout than it looks right now. And hopefully, it's not too cold. I mean, just show out. I mean, we have the better players, so hopefully just we make plays that we need to do. Then just dominate, honestly. That's what it should be. We're the team we're supposed to be. How we played against Ohio State and Oregon, there should be no excuse here against SMU.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's true. So we will see, obviously. Yeah. The holidays can make things a little funky with getting back to do another one, but we'll figure something out, win or lose, hopefully win, and talking about another game, which would be awesome. So keep an eye out for that. Let's see. Got to win a game, man.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Get some wide receivers in the